We start here first, though. School bullying and violence is almost an everyday occurrence in our country. But this week, a 15-year-old appeared in court in connection with the murder of his classmate. So we're asking, can young offenders be rehabilitated? Talking to us now is Professor Thulane Gxubane from the University of Cape Town's Department of Social Development. Prof, good to have you and good morning. Thank you so much for your time on this very important issue. I mean, the issue around behavior in schools is getting worrying. A couple of months ago, we knew of an incident in Venda where a young girl had, committed suicide allegedly because of a bullying, and now we're seeing one pupil stabbing the other, and obviously that being a fatal incident in Alexandra. Let's talk about the behavior first of young pupils in schools and why it's getting so violent.
All right, good morning to Melo and your viewers at home. Yes, we should be concerned about this violence as the way it manifests, in schools. But in fact, it starts where they're coming from, the young people. I mean, violence is everywhere, even at homes, how parents deal with, the conflict. So we should be really concerned and try to find permanent solution to this problem of violence, as it does lead, for instance, as we've seen, to murders and all that. So I think it's a combination of factors. It's not just one factor that leads to such, gruesome, behavior. It's personal, it's in family, it's in peers, it's in society. So therefore, social workers are quite crucial in understanding this violence and also how we respond to violence.
An important point you're making there, Prof, about it coming from home, their backgrounds, their upbringing to a certain extent. So what developmental approach do you think there needs to be introduced to rehabilitate these pupils? Let's first start with before they even find themselves landing in jail. What needs to be done to ensure that the background that they come from does not influence their behavior in schools and essentially, the people they become in society?
Beautiful, Dumelo, you got it right. Just before even they come in contact with the criminal justice system, you're right. There's a lot more that needs to be done to ensure that they do not enter the criminal justice system. That is what we call a developmental approach, an approach which seeks to promote prevention, early identification, and early intervention. So therefore, we've done a bit of research looking at youth gang violence. I had one of my master's students who did research in Khayelitsha looking at youth gang violence and the implications for achieving, academically at school. And then we've come to recommend that by the time they're at high school, it's too late. They're already entrenched into this youth gang violence culture, which starts in the community but spreads to schools. Right. So therefore, we recommend that we need to start very, very early at primary school, at the age of around 12, sensitize young learners, to the dangers and the negative effects of getting involved in gangs. But also, we need a lot of social workers. Our government needs to get a more proactive approach, ensuring that young people get services that they need. Young people should not be arrested first before they get access to services of a social worker or a probation officer. We need more proactive approach and prevention.
Right. Making very important points there. We spoke about before, obviously, meeting the justice system. Unfortunately, we have juvenile, systems in this country where young people are arrested. They have to find themselves sort of almost serving time, if that's the correct term to use. But can young offenders be rehabilitated, Prof? Because I think oftentimes when an incident of an assault, a fatal assault at that, we often hear the public saying, let them rot in jail, let them stay in jail. First of all, is that how they should be rehabilitated? And what's the approach then in dealing with convicted young juveniles?
A very good question, Tumelo. We understand the anger from the society. People are very angry out there because the crimes are getting serious and the offenders are getting younger. However, we are guided by legislation in how we respond to child and youth offenders. So therefore, no matter how angry we can be, no matter what you want to do, you cannot. You have to respect the legislation, which is our Child Justice Act. We have worked for many years to have this piece of legislation to ensure that we do not get carried away and use our personal preferences and judgments in how we respond to these young people. So therefore, we promote interventions that seek to develop these young people.
Right.
An intervention that seeks to help them, because no matter what you do, you remove them for a short while, but eventually they will come back. So therefore, we encourage a restorative approach to working with these young people, identifying where the problems are, the causal, roots of the problems, and dealing with those problems together with other systems around the young person. Social workers also become very crucial because there are no easy solutions. Rehabilitation requires investment. So the government needs to invest as well by employing more social workers, because this quick trauma debriefing and all that, it does not help. We need more permanent solutions to these serious problems, and a developmental approach, like I said, restorative justice is one of them.
Well, Prof, I appreciate this rich conversation. Hopefully, it would assist us in ensuring that we keep less, if not 0%, of young people out of prison.